Okay, first of all, I can hardly catch my breath, and I haven't done anything yet because I'm sitting at a table with three of the fiercest, most talented women that could be in the same room. Look, I'm getting all emotional already. I'm so excited, and Nkeki, I'm going to start with you just to say hello as a way of introduction.
Hi.
Because I love reunions, and we were last together at halftime. Our wonderful producer, Dory Berenstein's production, right?
Yes.
So that wasn't that long ago.
Was that earlier this year?
I don't know. I can imagine.
It was last year. It was last year.
I can imagine you can't remember because this year I was in London and there you were starring on the West End in Tina, the musical, and now you're a rising star in New York. I'm so excited for you and happy for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I mean, you did one.
Women.
Okay, it's not, and right out of the University of Michigan, which is a great school, but I'm sure you brought an amazing talent to bear right there, you know. And you did one, just so you don't think that she just got out of school and started dancing on Broadway and singing, but you did an off-Broadway show that I didn't know about.
I did. A couple months after halftime, I did Alice by Heart at MCC.
Right.
And I got Alice by Heart at the same time I got Tina for the West End. So I did the first week of shows in Alice by Heart, and then I had to fly out to London and start rehearsals for Tina.
And how many weeks did they give you?
Maybe like 2.5.
Oh my God.
3.
I mean, I want to talk about that.
Please.
But I just want to be introduced because Daphne Rubin-Vega, we are meeting for the first time. And I feel like I know you so well because I've seen you, I admire you, I've loved you from afar.
Hi, Donna.
So hi, here we are.
It's good to see you. I feel the same.
So you just represent the platform for women because you are so eclectic. You started as a pop singer, right? You had a band?
I did.
You're one of those original New Yorkers, I think, right?
I am. I was born somewhere else, which is very New York-like. Yeah, I was born in Panama, but I transplanted to New York
the West
very
Village?
young, to the West Village. That's right.
Yeah. And then, of course, the big splash for you on Broadway was Rent.
Right. Before that, I was in the girl group, so
Oh, yeah.
And
I think, was that the Pajama Party?
It was
Oh,
Pajama
my God.
Party.
I want to hear more about it because that's a very musical theater name. Did you know that?
Pajama Party, yeah. No, people used to call it Pajama Game. Fun fact that a few people know is I married one of my best friends in Pajama Parties, her brother. So we're sort of related by blood now.
Wow. Then I didn't know that I was out of town or something. I missed the Tennessee Williams Streetcar Named Desire,
yeah.
the revival.
Yes.
And you did...
I did Les Mis.
Les Mis,
in
the revival.
2006.
Oh my God.
Although I did play Fontina, and I'm gesturing to Frankie because I feel like we somehow tacitly had that connection even though we hadn't met.
The Rocky Horror Show. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did the Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah.
I played Magenta. I did a lot of Broadway that was sort of unlikely.
Yeah. And you're doing so much right now. You're so busy, and you just came off In the Heights. The film, is that?
Yeah, we just shot In the Heights. We're in post-production now. It's like when Nkeki was talking, I was thinking it never rains, but it pours.
Yeah.
And in this business, it's like it's really just.
And you have a new
keeping
series.
The balance in the flow. I'm in a new show called Katie Keene on the CW, which is a spin-off of Riverdale. Yes.
Oh, great.
And there was a picture of you with a good friend of mine, Bob Ari. Is that another film?
Oh my goodness, yes. I was just working on a film with Bob Ari earlier this week.
What was that called?
It's called Bleecker, which is like, a big up to Greenwich Village. It's a film by Edith Hagigi. And yeah, I did I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Hagigi.
I will never mispronounce your name. Ever.
It happens. You only do it once, right?
Yeah.
You get corrected and doomed.
Yeah.
Yes, and I had a scene with Christine Taylor, and we just had such a wonderful time, like instant love.
Right. So, I want to come back and talk about the
Yeah.
singing, recording, but my dear friend, Frances Ruffelle, I call her Frankie. because she said to. And I love it.
She obeyed me.
I am so happy that we are friends. We've been through
I'm so happy as
some.
well.
You are one of the most. Am I going to embarrass you now? She is one of the most generous people, besides one of the most talented people I've ever known. You are just, so great.
Ditto.
And you have to tell the story. You don't have to. But I'd love for you to tell the story about the wild card, because let me just give a superficial thing. Frankie has been singing and dancing and acting since she was a wee girl. And you were in a Terence Rattigan play. Was that your first West End?
Yes, it was.
West End, Broadway, film, 5 solo albums. Because that's where I connected that your similarity, because you're both like pop singers. You started that way, right?
Yeah, I was in a punk band. It didn't do very well, but I tried.
What was the name of that?
Do you know what? I actually can't even remember the name. I was 16 years old, and our main song, which my mum actually loved, was "Take Me Back to My Place, because that's the place that I like best." And it was that. I didn't really sing. So yeah, I've always written music, and so I kind of wanted to be a pop singer, but I never really was.
And what I love about sharing, we go off in so many different directions that you can do that. You don't have to be one thing anymore, like a singer or an actress. You can just do everything. And you're writing now, and you have a writing group, which I just joined.
Now.
Yeah, it's a salon.
Yes.
Remember those?
Absolutely.
Anytime that you have a group together doing anything, I think is just a kind of, especially these days, creatively putting your heads together. And I didn't want to talk this much because I want you to talk, but I have to say this: you've inspired me with writing a show, and you're writing your own. We can't talk about it because it's too good of an idea. Someone will steal it.
Yeah.
And it's just so tell us. So we did Wild Party together. That's our connection. So can you tell that?
Yes.
We actually did have a little connection earlier. Well, apart from the fact that I used to dance around my bedroom with my best friend Jane and sing music in a mirror very badly. We both can't really remember the details of this. In fact, I don't think you remember it at all. But we did a tap dance together for a gala in London that Barry Michon produced.
Oh, at the Palladium.
And I cannot remember what that song was. But all I knew is am I going to dance with Donna McKechnie? But I said yes, because of course I wouldn't turn that opportunity down.
What was that number?
What it was. We did a tap dance.
There was a song I could remember.
I can't remember what it was.
But there we were.
Unless I dreamed it.
There we were,
Which is quite
shuffle,
possible.
shuffle,
It's very
step.
true.
Shuffle,
Did you have the same
shuffle,
dream?
step.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe it didn't really happen. I actually wrote to Barry Michon today, quick saying, "Do you remember what the song was that I did with Donna McKechnie? And are there any photographs?" And he didn't get back to
Do
me.
we have any proof at all that this happened? Because otherwise,
Well, we
I made
did
it
a
up in
few
my
of
head.
those. I did a few of those galas. I was happy to do it.
So I think
they were
I may
great.
be right.
But they were very fast and furious. You just did it on the spot.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so then there was that, and Over Here. We don't have to talk about Over Here.
Yeah, so that connection, of course.
Why not?
Something we were meant to do, and it just didn't happen.
It's the show that got away. Okay.
What happened? What happened?
Oh my
Where
God.
did it go? Where did it go?
Sorry to bring that up.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move on.
Oh,
Moving
wow.
on.
That bad.
I don't know. All we heard is like the set is being built in Iceland. That's the last I remember.
And that's that. Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
Orange food. Oh, dear. And brown
That's
food.
fantastic.
Wow.
This is for those of us people, our audience who are just listening. I have to say we're being served food, and we're in one of my favorite restaurants, Sardi's, in the heart of the theater district. The history of this place, since 1927.
Amazing.
The wonderful celebrations that have happened here. I mean, it's just
The pictures on the wall.
Especially the one just there.
yeah. Go with the eyelashes. Well, this is it's we want to like protect the guilty by not saying their names, but and the innocent. But these things happen in show business.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a very loving community of actors and singers and dancers, but it's a business, and with all the hopes and aspirations, when people come together, it's like everything's starting. It's very exciting, and then it can go awry. And it's important when you have success. Is everyone at this table has achieved that recognition? It's important that people know that it's not, you're not living this carefree life all the time.
Right.
That it's not easy. It's easy for you.
I wish.
Right?
I wish. I'm like very new to this whole having a real person job thing and budgeting, and I'm learning about taxes. And
Oh my
I
good
still
girl.
don't know anything about that.
So there's something I want to
There are people for that.
ask you, Nkeki, about. I read this thing about when you were. You did an interview. An interview on rehearsal. You had like 2 weeks. Was this in London? And you said something really interesting about, because I know how fast you are, but you learned the songs, the music, the steps, the staging, the dancing, and then it's like this puzzle all comes together, and then who is she?
Right.
And then, right? And I want you to tell, it's like and then it was so interesting. You met Tina.
Right.
And then you spent some time with her. Would you talk about how that character for you came together?
Absolutely. So I'd flown to London early March, and I had a week of kind of living my life, not really doing anything, like kind of getting acclimated to the city, which was fun, but I was kind of a bit stressed because I was like, I know that I have a date for when I'm supposed to be on, and I feel like I should be doing something. I feel like I'm having too much fun. So eventually I started rehearsals and started music rehearsals first, and they were the music director was very specific in how he wanted the music learned. He was like, when you think of pop, you're like, oh, you just it's kind of off cuff, or it's kind of whatever you feel in the moment. But he was like, we want to start with a structure first. So I want you to learn everything that's on the page, every lyric, every note, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So for all of the 25 songs that are in the show, I learned every single note that was on the page, every single lyric. And it was kind of machine-like in how I had to learn everything, which is not pop, it's not rock and roll, it's not what we like to do, it's technique, exactly.
Yeah. It's Broadway, West End,
But
Right.
did you listen to Tina?
Oh, so much.
I mean,
so much. And even in my audition process, it was all, I didn't really grow up listening to Tina. It wasn't really part of my generation. And so it wasn't really until I started the audition process that I started listening to her music, and I was like, oh, this is a Tina song? I know that song. Oh, I know that song. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea these are all Tina songs. And then usually after an audition, you want to throw the whole experience away. You never want to think about it again. But I couldn't stop listening to the music. I know, right? I couldn't stop listening to the music. On the train, at the gym, like everywhere, I was just listening to it, but separate from the show. Like maybe a month later, I was like, oh yeah, I auditioned for the show. I probably didn't get it, whatever. And then my agent called me that day and was like, you have a callback for next Tuesday, which was a whirlwind week. It was callback Tuesday, dance call Wednesday, final callback Thursday. And they told me on that Thursday, they pulled me into another room directly after my final audition, that they wanted me to play the role in London.
That's a
Were you in the room with other women auditioning?
Yeah, it was like whittled down throughout that week.
Yeah.
It started with maybe 6 or 10 of us, and then it was like 4 of us, and then it was 3 of us by Thursday. And I remember having a phone call with my manager, Jen, and I was like, it was right after my first call back. And I was like, oh, I guess they really liked me. And they called me back for the next day, okay? And she was like, okay, we need this, 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 and this. You're going to dress like this tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wait, is this happening? I thought we were just having fun. I thought we were just playing around. Little did I know that they'd already talked to her, and they knew that they wanted me for the role already. But they were just putting me through the paces, like you must do.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started learning the music in January. The music director flew out to New York for a week, and so after my Alice by Heart rehearsals, which were 10 to 6, I had Tina rehearsals from 6 to 10 for like a whole week.
Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I got to London, I knew the music and I learned the blocking and I started connecting with the cast.
But you hadn't performed it yet.
No.
See,
I
that's
hadn't really done it on my feet. I hadn't really sung the songs full out, I just rehearsed them. So it got to the point where it was my tech week, and it was the week before I was supposed to go on for the first time. It was going to be my West End debut, and I had all of the information. I just didn't really know what to do with it. And they told me, you're actually going to be flying out to Switzerland tomorrow to meet Tina. And I was like, okay.
Wait, on a day off you were doing that?
It was a rehearsal day. I was going to have rehearsal that day, but they were like, actually, let's just go to Switzerland. And I was like, yeah, this is nice. So we flew in, and her husband, Erwin, picked us up from the airport.
No way.
Yeah, like he does in our show, Tina. And went over to her house and got to meet her and spend time with her. And we had a little photo shoot, and we kind of had like a little video set up, and they were kind of recording us for a bit, and then the cameras turned off, and we got to have our own like private moment. And I got to ask her some questions that I guess I'd had things prepared, but it was like, once I'm with the person, I don't really want to
interview them.
Yeah, I don't
you
care
to
to
be them.
I can read a book about that. I just want to be with you and in your presence and in your home and feel your spirit and your energy.
What was your bathroom like?
Did I even pee? I don't think I did.
You mean you didn't go into her medicine chest?
I was so nervous. I probably held it in. But her home was like warm, and I was surprised by how much stuff it was. There was like so much. Like I remember a picture of her in like dressed as like an Egyptian, and I was like, where did that? I loved it. I loved it. There's so many photos of her family and her sons and the people that she'd met. It was like, you never really envision a celebrity or an icon's home, but it is really comforting to know that they're a person who just wants pictures of their sons on the mantle. You know what I mean?
Right.
But she was so, I feel like nice is to call her.
But that visit helped you. It just kind of
everything is
you
kind
took
of
it in and
aligned,
and then your character emerged from that connection, right?
Right. I felt
because I love the way you said it was more of a spiritual, the energy.
That's exactly
that you
what
took in gave you the answer for what you needed to finish that.
You can tell so much about a person by just sharing, like how we are now, by just sharing their space, breathing the same air as them, and letting them look you in the eye and looking them back in the face. Like, you can learn so much about a person through that, and that's really all I needed. Because when you're embarking on a role of such an iconic person, you don't really think of them as a human being.
Right.
But our job as storytellers is to be like, okay, this is the human being that you get to meet on the stage.
Right.
That's what Tina the Musical is about. Not just the icon, but the person.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
And so, you have to.
Oh my God.
So that really aligned it for me, and I realized that.
I'm coming to. Do you want to know when I'm coming?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm coming tomorrow.
That's exciting.
I'm coming with my niece and
enjoy.
Can we come say hello?
Yes, tomorrow is Friday.
Night.
I won't be on. I perform Wednesdays and Saturday matinees.
Okay.
Right. It's okay. It's okay, but you're gonna enjoy the show because it's a wonderful show.
Okay.
But meeting her, I realized that my in was through a spiritual lens, and she's all about her spirituality.
That you're so. As I experienced you in Halftime, and just you're a Michigan girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wholesome, and I thought, my God, Nkeki's so young, and you talked about how they had you read the older scenes because that was like a question maybe, because what Tina went through, I thought, what a hard reference. I have to tell you, because pain is relative, but that's a chore.
It really, it's.
But I know you can do it, and I can't wait to see you do it. But
it's emotionally, nobody should ever have to go through that, but the fact that somebody did is
Right.
I have to tell you that it reminds me, I thought about it this morning, when we were doing our tape sessions for a chorus line in the beginning, we would all go around at those 2 nights with a cheap bottle of red wine. I've talked about it before. And maybe somebody had some grass, I guess. And we would talk about, because Michael said, tell us about your childhood. And it was like so depressing because everybody was like from dysfunctional family. Of course. Or, and then we got around to Candy Brown, who was a fabulous Fosse dancer, singer, actor. And she was sitting almost in tears and she said, I was happy. I had great parents. I just don't know. I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say. And that character became Richie. That character became Richie, Ron Dennis. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
It's okay to be happy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of,
I have
happiness and
wonderful
sunshine.
parents. Oh my God.
But you were always happy when you were a kid.
Apparently I wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, apparently I was awful. My dad, and when I had also a 2-year-old tantruming child, I said to my dad, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to cope with her. He went, don't worry, you grew out of it. Oh, really? When did I grow out of it? When you were 18, he said. No, apparently I was a miserable, horrible child.
Aww.
Yeah.
So I like to talk about,
lovely parents.
I was telling Daphne, I like to talk about the beginnings, where the dream started, Where did, so with her mother, if you didn't know, is Sylvia Young. Did you hear when you were over there? The famous theatrical school, and you were singing and dancing before your mom opened the school, really.
Yeah, because I went to local classes.
She opened the school because of you, probably.
Kind of, in a way, but really because our local school asked her to put on a show with children because my mum did amateur dramatics, which you call community theatre here, don't you? And so, trying to make this a short story, she put it on. All the kids in this quite poor area where we lived were knocking on the door constantly saying, Sylvie, can we do some more shows? Can we do some more shows? And so she opened up a drama school for them in the local church hall, and everyone paid 10 pence for the class towards, just hiring of the church hall.
Yeah.
And then it just grew and grew and grew, and suddenly, she's not a businesswoman, but she has this incredible big business. She didn't mean to do it. Yeah. And it's the best theatre school in the UK. It's very well known. And we rehearsed there, didn't we, for Wild Party?
Yes.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So I'm walking down the street and going to class at Steps, and then I hear this, Donna? I can't imitate your voice. It's not that high.
No, it's not, is it?
It's lower than that. And so go ahead and you say, I think there's...
Go on.
Am I good?
And by the way, I'm feeling like I have no work. I have nowhere to go except class, and I'm kind of depressed.
When is this?
A couple years ago.
3, I think, now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was like, it's Francis Ruffelle. Hello. Do you remember me? And then I said, can I take your number or your in fact, you gave me your email address, which I remembered because I'm not obviously going to not repeat that on air, but it's an easy email address. And I said, I think there's a role that would be perfect for you in a London show that I'm about to do. I'm going to tell them about you. And I don't know what else I said.
Yeah, good.
What else did I say?
And then we went our separate ways.
Right.
And that's it.
And then
And you were feeling womp womp.
Yeah, wah.
And they went, what an incredible idea. Do you think she'd do it? And you did.
And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was
The Wild
fun.
Party.
And
Do you want to know something? I saw this.
Oh my God.
I saw it at the other palace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw it. I was studying abroad that year. It was my junior year of college. And I was studying at Lambda, doing their Shakespeare semester course. And I had gotten tickets, and I thought that it was going to be the Lippa Wild Party.
Yeah.
So I was, because that's the one that I grew up with. It was in all the Broadway
all the kids
belting.
do, yeah. But it's the Michael John LaCusa.
And so I was like, oh, what? This isn't what that's, oh my God, is that? Oh my God, is that?
We were just talking about
it. Was crazy. Wow. I loved it.
Yeah,
I
I did
production.
too.
Oh, we loved that production,
Yeah.
didn't we?
fun.
I'd
Yeah.
love to get it on here, that production, with
Yeah.
Drew McConey directing it.
It was amazing.
Livia award-winning choreographer.
Wow.
Because it's very dance-orientated. He did it like a dance piece. And when the members of the party start to break down in their lives, they're sort of, you can see their lives are broken.
Yeah.
Then the piece became still. And it was beautiful.
It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
Drew McConey, he's
It
really
was
great.
beautiful. And that space was perfect.
The other palace. That's so funny.
Yeah,
What a
I like the
small
other
world.
name first, the St. James.
Yeah.
I did like that name.
Yeah.
The other palace, I don't know. Anyway, we do go on. There's something I wanted to, Daphne, talk to you about. You know, starting as a singer and getting in theater was not something that tell me how you started, because I don't want to make it up as from just reading something.
Well,
Because when you did Rent, it's like we talked about opening nights, and your family was there, I'm sure. When you did your family come
yes.
see you? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And for Rent, was a whole new, of that generation. It was like Chorus Line. It was the '70s, and Rent was like spoke to a new generation.
Rent was
Yeah.
my chorus line.
yeah, it was, it's hard to talk about an experience when you're in it.
Yeah.
So, it is, as beautiful, and, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was, I would change that we lost somebody. We were like in the eye of a
Yes.
serious tragedy.
That was
So that never- yeah, so-
that was a unique.
Yeah, the death of Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
and dramatically
Just before you opened, and
yeah, like invited dress rehearsal the night of that, kind of informed the rest of it in a way that was hard to really
yeah,
embrace while we were trying to. It seemed like I was very conflicted about feeling that people were trying to capitalize off of a gory situation, and it kind of made me reluctant
Yes,
to want to
I can
participate in
understand.
that.
yeah.
That said, the other stuff, I think it's hard, like only now, like 20 plus years later, does, do the coins drop in a different way, and I get to see a kind of legacy that we leave when we do big things.
I understand that perfectly, because I had the great good fortune to be able to go back to that show in the same theater, the same run, and it was a much happier experience. In the
Yes.
beginning, it was not
No.
for me.
riddled
There
with
was
trauma.
strife. It was strife. It was full of difficulties.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that the audience, would never imagine.
Well, that's why I think that what we do, and in no uncertain terms, has the capacity of the sacred and divine, because we get to transform those things into experiences that people can, digest for themselves, for the better. And we don't, and we get to sort of like minimize that kind of, or rather, humanize these experiences, these really particular experiences. I found that in storytelling, very particular stories that are very specific, to the degree that it's specific and we're truthful, we all get to identify.
Yeah.
It could be the opposite
my
of
mind
me.
is being drawn to something I saw last night, and Googling everybody. It's just to their little tidbits, but it was riveting. And so I thought, my God, have you always been the actress in your mind, in your heart when you were young? Or were you singing and then the acting just was part of you, that you...
I always wanted to keep them separate.
Really?
I found that they were, I mean,
Because the
you
Labyrinth
probably
Theater,
don't
the
know-
production I'm talking about is La Piñata
Empanada
Loca.
Loca.
Yeah.
Yeah, Empanada Loca turned into The Horror of Dolores Roach, which is a podcast also, Spotify. I wanted to keep my acting and my singing separate, because I thought that one kind of bastardized the other. you illegitimize
so
the other.
Funny.
It was. So like then I back up into Rent. And like Rent was supposed to be a rock opera, not a musical.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That word.
And I think that was kind of like the selling point. And I thought, it was based on La Bohème. It had like some real zhuzh about it that felt very cool. And, at the time, because a lot of my life, I felt like I was an artist, but, I went to a school where I thought, Joni Mitchell, these kind of people who, painted their record covers and wrote their lyrics and played their instruments. Like that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you do that.
Nina Simone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to do that, but I feel like I kind of, that was my aim.
The music, but the musical, I mean, the acting, I guess that's why writers aren't drawn to musicals, because the music comes in at a high point, where you would get more in depth in a character. It goes into song. I mean, that's the ideal, right?
It's to elevate it.
To elevate it instead of, so the writer has to serve that dramatic, that point.
Right.
But can I embarrass you with reading something about you?
Oh dear.
I hope I won't.
Sure,
if I start. No, because I sat there and I watched this performance, and it's like it was so riveting, and it was someone that I could relate to. Dolores, right?
Oh my goodness! Wow, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, because that's okay.
Dolores lives underground,
Can you describe the character?
Well, she is an inspiration.
Subway, right? She lives in the subway?
Yeah, she lives underground in the subway tunnels. She's an inspiration from Sweeney Todd. And, basically, she's a kind of the survivor, a New York survivor where, everything goes wrong in her life. She doesn't really... love kind of like pushes her to do these things that are so unfortunate, tragic, and gory, and she just keeps fucking up like so badly.
Okay, Daphne Rubin-Vega provides jet fuel for the vehicle, which is the play. She demonstrates that she's, even without singing, an astonishing talent. This is what it drew me to, because you were saying that, the singing was so important. Rubin-Vega brings warmth and passion to a tale that involves hard knocks and gruesome twists. It's not just a good performance. It feels like a landmark for a consummately gifted actress.
Wow.
That's a great review for a singer.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I don't know who wrote it. I thank them.
This was...
no, you didn't. Yeah. Well, it's just...
But, it's like, it's wonderful, because I try to separate things, because I want to do Williams. And Shaw and Shakespeare and I'm like, if you do anything well, it's like, don't leave that box, Well, so I love the fact that you were recognized that way, because I saw a bit of it, not enough of it. But it was just wonderful to see.
No, I appreciate that, because, we go to school and we learn Chekhov and Shaw and Shakespeare and everything, but we grow up into the real world, and now things are changing as I speak. But like for me, it was like my what I brought to the party, as it were, was not welcome anymore from the gate. I wasn't going to do Chekhov on stage. I was people would laugh at, maybe, me being Sally Bowles back in the day, I mean, it was like we weren't going to do
It's
Tennessee
an uphill
Williams.
climb, that.
Well, it's like, I don't look like Stella Kowalski.
Whatever she was supposed to look like.
Well,
but
she's
you did
supposed
it.
to be, a Caucasian woman from a southern, antebellum sort of family, right? So So I'm saying all that to say that I'm incredibly fortunate to have people that are younger than me now writing stuff, and not all young, but like writing stuff for me that doesn't have to require me to look a certain way. That this is...
So it is changing.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I'm hearing is that you and all of us create the demand. You have to create the demand, which is why I love what Frankie does all the time. Going out there, creating the demand,
Yes.
And so
I have to.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. It's funny, while we were talking about this earlier, I used to work for a sculptor back in the day because I was an awful waitress. But aside from that, she allowed me the latitude to work for her and then be able to go on auditions. She was an artist supporting an artist. And it was a perfect situation. But anyway, I remember her saying so many things off the cuff that were smart. But I remember asking her sincerely, like, what made you become the artist? Like, what was the catalyst? You know, what, like, turned the corner for you?
That's what I always want to know.
And she said, so as not to kill my husband.
Very creative.
And I remember thinking that it was so, kind of, glib and funny, and like it was a good retort. But it kind of, it really rings true. I don't want to kill my husband, don't get me wrong, but it saves your life. It like gets you out of, it's a great, wonderful.
And what great things you do for other people when you can take them on your journey when you work.
Well, when you have an artistic impetus, it really, in a way, it saves lives. Because if you have to say it badly enough, I think somebody needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just need to say that to myself to continue to do my work. But I do think that it matters.
Yeah. I believe that too.
I do.
And I didn't always. I would go through ups and downs with it.
I'm always going through ups and downs.
What do you?
But I love.
But you're so positive.
Well, I love.
So can I read what Tim Rice said about you?
Sure.
Because if it ever comes,
writing.
Yeah, come on.
as a writer,
Read that.
Because when I saw your show, she just put this is sort of new, a newer one. Frances Ruffelle lives in New York. When you move back.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of a sudden there's a show, and it's at the Green Room, and I'm going to go see it. And it was fantastic because you made it a theater cabaret. You created, you tell me.
Well, I do a lot of what we call vignettes, but they're kind of like beat poetry. And since I started it, every time I do the show, I've been writing more and more of the beat poetry, which is dark but also funny.
Yeah.
So this is a light relief. And then now I've written so many of them, I should say. And it's now going to be produced by Jem Bender off Broadway for a 4-week run.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
See?
And I've changed it up quite a lot now, and it's not cabaret, and it's not Frankie, it's not Frances, it's Ruby's Poison, actually.
Ooh. Oh, the title changes.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, because
right.
Ruby's Poison.
It's really it started out being inspired by my own life, but I've taken it away from there.
You've created a character.
Yeah. And it's not just me. There's going to be 4 people in the show as well, and a set, and it's really exciting.
It's morphed into something else.
Yes.
Okay, so, this was actually about another show called Underneath the Skirt.
Beneath the dress. Everyone gets that wrong. Underneath the skirt.
Underneath the skirt.
Well, that's kind of sexy.
Wait, what's it called?
Inside the trousers.
What's it actually called?
Beneath the dress.
Beneath the dress.
So close, Donnie. You're so close.
I have such a mind. Okay, so this is the Edinburgh Festival. Was this your first?
This is my first one-woman show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ruffelle this just stopped me in my tracks. Ruffelle doesn't just use the space, she crushes it with her high heels.
Wow.
That's a review. Okay, but then the other show, Frances Ruffelle performs with grace and fire, subtlety and extravagance, delicacy and excitement, sometimes all at once. Tim Rice.
That's very nice.
Not bad. Great. Okay, now these quotes. I love my little quotes here. Okay, are you ready?
Me?
Yeah.
Wow, calling you out with your...
Okay, because this is, I'm getting goosebumps already, your story. I really am. I love it so much because you're so wonderful. And okay, so I am delighted that Nkeki will be performing in our Tina family, with our Tina family. Her raw talent is clearly extraordinary, and her determination and spirit are second to none. Tina Turner.
Oh wow!
What?
Lovely.
Pretty cool.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
take it.
she
I'll
loves
definitely
you.
take it. That's nice to hear.
It's great.
Wow.
I still can't believe I'm sitting at this table with these.
Me too. I mean, I literally,
Wow.
my best friend Jane, growing up, we both would sing to you, Donna. But the other thing that really touches me is that I learnt about Daphne through my friend Jane, who brought the CD in of Rent and said, "You've got to listen to Mimi. You've got to listen to Mimi." And obviously I fell in love with your voice and fell in love with the show, and I learnt every word to every song that you sang. I wanted to be Mimi.
Yes.
And now I do live below 14th Street. I'm trying to keep my ass in shape. But, and then it's quite a touching thing to meet you, actually, because my lovely friend died about 14 years ago.
Jane?
Jane died, and they played Rent at her funeral and everything.
Really?
And so for me, she would be, I'm sure she's so happy that we've met. So,
Jane.
to
To
Jane.
Jane. To Jane.
Jane.
My beautiful friend Jane.
I
feel
I'm
like
super
through
stitched.
Jane I know you.
Thank you, Jane. This one's for you.
And also her,
And every reunion.
her husband Matthew, this is also quite weird. He produced Rent in London. He also produced Chorus Line recently, a few years ago in London.
The 212.
It's a small world, isn't
Yeah,
it?
isn't that strange? Yeah. So this is a big deal, this
It's
time.
wild to think
Influence.
of the lives that you touch. Like we were talking about the lives that you touched in
Yeah.
the theater. Like my Rent connection is that we each have to do, my freshman year of college, we have to do these like projects, like musical theater projects. We're each assigned a show. And the show that I was assigned was Rent.
Really?
And you have to do like this 50-page
What?
presentation, essay.
I'm sorry.
No, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And that was kind of my in. I knew that I'd loved musical theater, but getting to know Rent, getting to know a show, I didn't know that shows like Rent existed.
Right.
You know, going into musical theater, going into my college
The
audition
book musical
process,
is what you were doing.
I wanted to be an actor. Kind of like you. I was like, I want to be a serious actor, okay? But if I'm going to be a serious actor, I should probably learn how to sing and dance, I guess. It might help me at some point. So that's how musical theater like came into my life. I did a couple musicals before then, but not seriously until college. And so learning that show like Rent, and then I learned about like Next to Normal and shows like this existed, and I was just like, I had no idea that.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah,
the way it goes.
It's so current and contemporary, and
there's room for everything. You have the
Fresh.
old book stuff, and then these new. And you have such a following from Rent, I'm sure, Daphne. The reunions are insane.
We did.
Everybody
We actually
shows
had a
up.
reunion in January with Rent Live, which wasn't live
right,
at all,
right.
but that's neither hither nor thither. We did get to see each other. It was wonderful. We all got to. Yeah, it's like family. Actually, we have a text thread that.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. I don't know how much we all like it, but we're all in it.
You can't really leave, can you?
Well, you know,
Without them knowing.
Gilles just had an emergency appendectomy. Gilles, feel better. You know, everybody's
like the
having their
family,
birthday.
yeah. Well, In the Heights, I love that show so much. I love that
was a segue.
I'm sorry. No, because it's a modern show, but
Yeah, that's right.
and to bring it back again in this way, you know,
as a film,
did they treat it like the musical it was, or was it just more
Well, I
realistic?
haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I know that the experience of filming it was just spectacular. What a great way to spend a summer in New York City, shooting in the Heights. You know, it's like if I'm gonna sweat, this is how I'm gonna do it. You know, and you know how we make fast, furious families when we're actors and we do projects together, and you know the magic of when it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And when you know that what you're doing is bigger than you, and that's, you know, very, very prevalent in everything, in every aspect of the project. I
because
know
you can't in film, you can't tell. You have better sense when you do
tell,
stage.
and I don't look at playback. And with stage, it's like, okay, I made this choice. Maybe I'll try something else tomorrow, or that felt good, or that felt lousy. Do you know, like we get to revisit these things?
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't do that. Like you have to, if you don't let it go, if I don't let it go, I go crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the other kind of gear shift with film. I have to say that Lin-Manuel writes songs that are 7 minutes long. You know, so when you put them all together, like you've got this, you know, like odyssey.
Yes, I love that.
So I'm really excited. I feel like the people that I worked with are so, just without exception, beautiful to look at and just take in their essence. You know, so to see that on film is very exciting. And I honestly hope that I give myself the same kind of, you know, respect.
Grace.
Yes.
Grace. Yeah, that's the word.
Love yourself as you see it.
Because it's really, it's astounding how self-critical
Oh my gosh.
you can be, like, as a stage actor. It's like, I don't have to look at it.
Exactly.
I had this phone call yesterday that I couldn't say to her as I wanted to, oh, I have to go now, because there was a crisis.
Is that me?
No. No, it wasn't you. Wait a minute. Oh, no. No, but it's like, and I don't even have to go into it, but I had to stop and remind this person who was highly intelligent and in the business for many years, but was going through one of those, you know, she was so critical. And feeling so, it was like beaten down. It's like world weary.
Yes.
And you know, we've all been there, right? And then you go, the healthy part of you goes, you know, and especially starting as a dancer, nothing is good enough. So you become very critical, your thinking and everything. And I had gone through some terrible times where I had to pull myself up by not being so critical, by finding out how could I love myself more by giving myself some slack, you know. Don't be so hard on.
Yeah, self-care.
Don't be so demanding. Don't be. And she said, I need someone to yell at me and just get up and do it. And I said, no, that's the last thing you need. You know, you need.
I agree.
Love and affection.
Yeah, we're actors.
You know?
We're not athletes.
And so it was great because, but just being supportive in one phone call, it made a whole difference. And it's like I have to remind myself that when I get to that place, that I just have to breathe and go, you're fine, you're okay, nothing wrong with you.
And you know, it's really nice also to have a coterie of female actors.
Yeah.
That will give you that also, because we have coteries, I'm sure, of female actors, friends that like don't do that. You know, they're like, oh yeah, really, fuck that bitch.
Right.
You know, the brain.
Yeah.
Like you're having means somebody else is going without kind of thing, which is, you know, very American, but and kind of this business, but to actually, you know, in the Heights, we did have moments where like we shared our insecurities and we would take each other by the hand and say one of these prayers, like, you know, insecurity, get out. Like you are so not welcome here.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
Like
That's so
keep
good.
these women like safe, right, tight and out of sight.
Things that are better than airing out your shame and the things that, I think that's its own form of self-care. Like,
Yes.
I failed in this, and I have to share it, because if I keep it in myself, it's going to fester, and it's going to get ugly, and then it's going to explode. You know,
You can't beat yourself up with it. Yeah.
I found recently that I'm feeling like, hey, you know, I did something today on the stage that really didn't work, and I'm just letting you know that it was a terrible choice. I'm never doing it again. And then you feel better, they feel better, the air is clear, like, and you can just forgive yourself and move on with your life. You know,
Right.
And another important thing, communication. That's always a good one.
It's hard sometimes. It's very hard sometimes, especially if you need to say something difficult. But I always find the truth is the best in the end.
Well, you know, we're kind of like in a very tricky time. You know, it's amazing. Like sometimes I feel that like this weight, it's like, it's almost like, you know, if we are cells in a body, the body is kind of having you know, an immune system breakdown, and like we have to like sort of step it. I mean, you know, I feel it like, okay, let me be like a good blood cell, like a healthy white, you know, immune blood cell, and like
no wine,
not no whining, no wine,
or whining,
no wine, no wine. How metaphoric, you know, no wine
or whining,
no wine.
Whining
like,
is not good either.
I just can't anymore. But you know, to yes, no wine, like literally, like taking responsibility for our temperament, you know, about it. You know,
sometimes there's an exercise.
I can help what I
There's
say.
a simple exercise that I was taught, and then when I teach, sometimes I use it for students, or beginning students, and it's emotional recall part, but sensory exercise, where I say, try to conjure up, try to really see yourself as a child. You go to some picture or something, and I said, now really keep seeing it. See it now. Touch. What is the expression? What is her expression? And then
it's your child. Yourself.
It's you. And then I say, go, and it takes some time.
She's frightened.
And then the feelings start coming up, and I say, now, yeah, she's right. She's crying, well, go reassure her. Go touch the top of her head, touch it, and the effort to do the sensory work brings up a lot of feelings right away. And it's so good because it's love. You're seeing yourself in a vulnerable way, and you're reassuring, or you're going to, and this is what I think of, I have to be my own good mother sometimes, and I have to see the child within. I mean, I sound like so new age.
No.
It's
But, you know, it's
children,
like,
though, aren't we, really?
we live in a great city, and it's the hustle bustle, and you just get, you know, I have to do this, I have to do this, you know, and you go, wait a minute, can I just take the little girl by the hand and give her a break, sit her down, let her watch Netflix.
Right. I've been meditating like crazy. In this day and age, it's like, oh my gosh, I find that it can be easy for me to like get caught up in my own stress, my own busyness. And my dad always says, you love to worry. You love worrying about things. Like, relax. Stop furrowing your brow.
Yeah, no, like it's an investment in the future.
I'm not great at meditating, but I do it, and I can sit very happily for an hour. But I'm not meditating at all. I'm thinking about what words I'm going to be writing.
It's not meditating.
I can't meditate.
For her, that could be a form of
It
meditation.
could be its own form of meditation.
Yeah.
You know?
It relaxes me.
Yeah, and that's all it is. As long as it connects you with your body, connects you with your breath. You don't need to be,
No.
I'm not thinking about anything, because you're always going to be thinking about something.
But the whole thing about meditation is that you catch yourself. So it's like, you're like, I mean, I do this all the time. I'm like, and I have actually said like, leave me alone. Like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? Because you're thinking. That's a thought. Like, I'm having an argument with somebody who's like, maybe never existed, or dead like a long time. I don't even know them.
I called the little Nazi general on my shoulder. It's like we just wrote a scene just as we were talking about something. You said it should be a scene. I talk to myself like that as I'm walking towards the refrigerator, trying not to eat.
yeah.
I'm going, don't do it, don't do it, don't open that door. And it's like another person opens the door.
Really? Oh.
It's like, don't put that pasta in the, yeah.
We have that in common, you and I. But I actually, when
I have to kill that little Nazi if
No,
I'm
I
gonna.
don't want to kill it, you see, because, well, I do when I go to the fridge.
Right.
But when I'm sitting there meditating, I'm enjoying my thoughts. I don't want them to go away.
Right.
I don't even try to make them go away.
You're writing, that's what you're
It's
doing.
embarrassing to say this because I'm a trained yoga teacher.
Yeah.
And I was trained in meditation.
Well, then
And I
you
just-
know the difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
like,
they couldn't tell what was going on, so they passed me.
well, you know, in TM, you're
Fooled
not
them.
supposed to give your word away, right?
Right.
Like, you pay all this money to like, you know, go up these levels of, oh God, you know, yeah, to like, you pay all this money to go all these levels, and then you get your word, and you're not supposed to share your word.
What is that?
Everybody gets their own word?
I think it's the same word.
I didn't do
What is
TM, but I
this?
TM,
it's a
transcendental
different type of-
meditation.
yeah.
And it's like, I'm sure, but like, if it's supposed to be this catalyst for peace, why wouldn't I give you my word? Do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, is it financial value or spiritual value? Because if you give something of spiritual value away, I mean, isn't the law,
Isn't that the whole point?
the whole law of the universe is that it
You open it up. Yeah.
multiplies?
Right.
So
Jerry Seinfeld likes TM.
email me and I'll give you the word.
My Venmo is.
My Venmo.
You know, Michael
For
John,
$1.
Michael John
Just
Cusack,
one.
who we worked with.
Michael John.
Yeah, he gave me some good words. Actually, talking about words, when I was feeling low and I first moved to New York, and I didn't really know anyone here, and it was all a bit sort of what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And he just said, just create every day, write every day, create every day.
Oh, nice.
And I thought, I've got to take his
Beautiful.
advice. I have to take his advice. He said, I promise you, you'll feel better. And I took his advice to the extent that even if I've got a busy day, I even sing down the street a melody and I record myself
I love
on the
that.
phone. I do something every single day, and I've still got to wade through a lot of it.
Does he know that you do that?
Yeah, I did tell him I took his advice. Yeah. And it did make me happy, and I just wanted to share that here because for anyone listening as well,
right.
it's
Yes.
really important.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It saves us sometimes. I mean, I didn't know that I really yearned to create. I didn't know that.
When did you find that out?
You know, it's funny. I always attribute it to like, I remember being in summer camp, 9 years old. I was completely alone. I felt so lonely. I didn't know anybody. I was shy, and I was swinging on a swing. And I was by myself, and I had this image of,
Wait, you are shy?
I was. I have tendency, yeah. I mean, I just didn't know how to talk to other people, you know? And I had just kind of come to this country and just moved, you know? I had gone to a lot of different schools, so, you know, I was just like this scared little kid.
Right.
And I was on a swing, and I remember thinking of the sound of music, the image of Julie Andrews twirling on the mountain, the image of her dress.
Yeah.
Like, it was all about, you know, dresses like, with big hoops, you know, very, you know, sort of King and I or Cinderella. But there was, you know, I was just a little child who had no intent, like I didn't know anything about studying or, you know, the craft. But after that summer, I would buy Backstage magazines,
Backstage.
newspapers, Backstage, and we lived on West 44th Street for a wee minute before we moved to the Village. And there was an audition for children's
Were you in
theater.
414?
I was 430.
Oh, I was in 414.
West 44th?
Yeah.
So we were kind of
Yes.
between the two actor
You
studios.
weren't born yet.
No, but the actor studios.
Yeah, it was right next to it.
Oh my God. And,
But it was like 1959, 60.
Okay, so this was like, what am I talking about? I'm talking about like
Later.
the late 70s.
Yeah.
But, yeah, early 80s. So So yeah. But there was an audition for The Princess and the Pea, and
You wanted that dress.
I went to this audition. Yeah, I think 80. I don't know.
Yeah.
I went to this audition, and they she laughed at me and she said, "No, this is theater for kids, not by kids." Like, how old are you, honey? And I said, I'm 9 years old. She said, come back in another 9 years. And I thought, like, that's my whole lifetime. But like that really happened. And my mom had a Humpty Dumpty. Do you remember Humpty Dumpty magazine?
No, not the magazine.
There was a Humpty Dumpty magazine. They're from the 50s. And it was an old Humpty Dumpty magazine that my dad had, my stepfather. And she had it signed by Ben Gazzara and Jane Fonda because they were doing some show and she said, "This is for you. This is a sign that, like, I think you're going to be an actor."
So they were your parents who were immigrants to this country?
Well, my mother, my stepfather's an American,
Okay.
Russian Jew, so immigrant, as it were.
But
I mean,
they were supportive of your wanting to perform, like, from early on?
yeah, I think my mother was. My mom died early, but yeah, I think she would have completely, when she said it, it was sort of off the cuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, I think she would have completely.
You need that. You had it.
Oh, absolutely. It took a second though, because my parents are immigrants as well.
Yeah, from where?
From Nigeria. Yeah, and they came over in the early 90s. To New York. I was born in the Bronx.
Yeah, boogie down.
Oh yeah, boogie down Bronx. And,
boogie down.
Yeah, I didn't really. I kind of grew up watching TV a lot and watching like Disney Channel and things like that. And I remember my dad got me to start watching the 1980s Fame TV show.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And that
was it.
Erica Gimple.
That was it. Yes, Coco. That was it for me. That's what made me want to start performing. And I was like, I didn't know you could go to high school for this. Like, that's so exciting.
And you went to high school performing arts?
I went to. It was a magnet school. It was so it had like biotech, engineering, auto tech, performing arts. So I know, right? Of all things. So I was a theater student there.
And a riveter.
Oh yeah, and I also decided to start on cars as well. And so my parents were like, okay, yeah, you can. This is a nicer school. I'd moved to North Carolina by this time. Parents were like, okay, this is a nicer school than the public schools. Like, sure. But then I was like, yeah, I actually want to like keep doing this. It's not just a hobby anymore. They're like,
you made the announcement.
Yeah, I sat him down. Mom was like, yeah, you would be a great chemist. Or like anything else.
Why, when you said you wanted to be an actor, she was like, ooh.
She really wanted her kids to be scientists, I think.
Well, they want them to be safe and happy,
and secure,
not show business.
And secure. Right.
Secure, yeah.
And I don't think that security has ever been a part of my
criteria
future plans, like looking in my future. I never thought of stability, I just thought of doing what I love and think my hobby.
We're so lucky that way to be able to do that.
My life. And my parents are, now that, from that point on in high school, like it was just the ball started rolling and now they couldn't be more excited. Supportive. My dad's like,
oh, I bet.
Like, oh my God, biggest fan. Just
oh my God.
Fan.
Yeah,
all right, well, listen, as we, I'm getting the cue, as we are winding down, should we toast the ladies who lunch here?
Yeah, with my tea.
I toast each and every one of you. Thank you so much for this wonderful,
thank you, Donna.
Inspiring conversation.